9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening, Cherries fans. Cherries Red Army YouTube channel. Kirk here. What a way to start the week. AFC Bournemouth kicked off where we left off on Saturday, and we beat Burnley in the FA Cup 2-0 this evening. And we'll place ourselves in a rare quarter-final and one win away from the FA Cup semi-final. Now, this is Cherries Extra Time, and this is an opportunity for you to come on and give us your thoughts on the game. If you'd wish to take part, you can copy the link that you'll see in the description. It's also on the screen now. Copy it into the web browser, put some headphones in, place your name in the box as well, and come into the studio and I'll let you in. We've already got people queuing up and it's also in the chat. If you don't want to come on, just let us know your thoughts in the chat and I'll show as many as possible. AFC Bournemouth, a monstrous display, a rare 90-minute display where everyone put in an effort from start to finish. Both teams were sort of tentative at the start, and then AFC Bournemouth grabbed hold of the game. Brooks gave an overlap to sort of Jack Stacey, took the ball, crossed it, and Sam Surridge gave Bournemouth the lead. Ben Pearson, Jeff Lerma protecting that back four, and then when they got the ball, they were giving it to Billing. Maestro Billing, the link between the centre midfield and our three strikers. Second half, we had to wave a storm at the start, but we got there. We were able to keep our score down to 0 at the back, and then late into the second half, Billing would play a part in creating a chance for Sam Surridge, who was then bundled over in the box. Stanislas would step up, as he always does, puts it in the back of the net from the penalty spot. We saw out the game easily, but just before Jeff Lerma decides to get a normal yellow card just to round off a perfect day. So let's get into it. Let's get some people on the chat. Also, make sure you've subscribed to our channel and like as well. So let's bring some people in already. And let's start off. We'll bring Ollie in. How are you?
I'm absolutely brilliant, mate. How are you?
Fantastic. We'll also bring Sammy in. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Pretty good.
Wonderful. And we'll bring Morgan in as well. How you doing, Morgan?
Delighted. Magnificent. We've been crying out for Sam Surridge to start games, and he's done himself. He's the first name on that team sheet at the weekend now.
Brilliant. So, Ollie, when you saw that team sheet, a strong side, Jonathan Woodgate said in his press conference he wasn't messing around and he wasn't lying.
No, I mean, it was two strong sides, really. A couple of sort of players in the Burnley lineup that you wouldn't really expect to play a Premier League match. But yeah, I mean, Woodgate said he was going to play a strong side. He did. It was two very strong lineups, and we really made them look a little bit average, didn't we? I wasn't expecting the performance that we gave, I'll be honest. I know it's sort of a new era now under Woodgate for the time being anyway. And we're only sort of judging off what we saw at the weekend. And I didn't think that Birmingham really offered us too much in terms of a contest on Saturday. No disrespect to Birmingham. But tonight I thought, a very strong physical team in Burnley, a very professional side that seemed to be able to grind out results when they need to. But we made them look very average. So like you were saying, very strong lineup, and it paid dividends.
And Sammy, before the game, how are you feeling? I mean, Simon's come on here and he said, what the was that?
I know, right? It was pretty good. It was just, I didn't watch it. I was listening to it on the radio, but it was just so nice. Like, I was flicking through Twitter as well. Just everyone sort of really positive about the way we were performing and the sort of like the team play, really. And like just the performance that came out and how the togetherness was back and just putting together a team performance rather than a load of individuals just running around the pitch trying to score a goal. So,
and I know we're playing a Premier League football team in Burnley, Morgan, but I think we're going to win a lot more football matches this year if we utilise our forward players and get them with some confidence. I thought David Brooks was a lot better tonight. Stanislas is always consistent, and Sam Surridge ran that line beautifully, I thought.
Absolutely spot on, Kirk. I think what is a nice thing to see is the players had a bit of self-confidence tonight, a bit of belief, and to win a football match, that's always a good thing. But yeah, Surridge was running the channel. I thought he looked very, very well. Did well. We've been crying out to see him for a number of weeks, and he put himself. He's come on, got a goal, and won the penalty as well. So it's an excellent performance by Surridge, and Philip Billing turned up again. He has matches that he doesn't turn up with, and I've been a criticism of Billing, but fair play to him. He put in a man of the match performance. He was everywhere. They were saying on the watch along with Tom and Sam Davies a minute ago that he was all over the pitch. I think he won a load of headers, and he was just magnificent again. So yeah, really good.
And at the start of the game, Ollie, I seem to think that not either team didn't really want it. No one wanted to grab hold of the ball. They were careless in possession. What was your thoughts in the first 10 or 15 minutes?
Yeah, well, I was doing a match show on it, and it was so difficult to sort of have things to say in the first sort of 13 to 14 minutes. Nothing happened. It was sort of, like you say, both sides trying to not really lose it, not really open up their defense to sort of be attacked to. It was very much sort of two sides in a last 16 of a FA Cup with a quarter final on the horizon. No one wanted to lose it. I mean, like I say, I've just seen that we haven't been in a FA Cup quarter final since 1956. Burnley haven't been in one since 2003. So a chance for both of these sides to make a rare appearance in the quarter final. So it was very sort of, like you say, a very shaky and cagey opening 20 minutes or so. And then obviously once we got the goal, I think the confidence within the side was just flowing. And the one thing that I think we've lacked so much this season since we started to hit a rocky patch was confidence. And we know we've got one of the best teams in the league. We know we've got players that could be start lining up and starting a Premier League match every weekend. We know that, but we haven't got a team that's gelling together. And I think, Sammy, you mentioned a good point there where you were saying that it's not 11 players that want to score a goal and run the show and, be the man of the moment. We have a team finally today. And I think we saw that against Birmingham on Saturday. And I think we saw that today, that we've got finally a unit and some confidence to go into that unit.
You were listening to the game then, Sammy, and I think you've said on one of my previews before, you said it's a shame when someone like Surridge plays well, then doesn't get rewarded with another game. And when you're listening to that and he scores, how are you feeling?
I just hope he plays again at the weekend, to be honest. I think he's probably got a bit more of a chance, though, hasn't he? Now, like Solanke's out injured, he might get a little bit of a run in the team and be able to have the opportunity to prove himself, which will be good for him if he can.
Yeah. And Morgan, we're now in the quarterfinals, and we are one place away from going to this place. Now, when I say we're one game away from going to this place, we're probably not going to be allowed to go to this place. But yeah, an opportunity to get to the semi-finals, a one-off match again in the quarterfinals. How are you feeling? We don't know who we've drawn yet, but how are you feeling about that?
Well, it's remarkable. As Ollie said there, it's the first time in year that we have managed to achieve it. So yeah, a remarkable opportunity. Kurt, you mentioned there that we probably won't be able to attend. They did push back the EFL Caravan Cup until April to allow fans the opportunity to get back in. So and the FA Cup final normally hold in May, ain't it? At the end of May, like the 18th of May or something. So yeah. Potentially there's probably more chances of going to that game than there is any other game this season. So we won't tread hope that we won't be able to go there if we do make it that far, because we'll just have to wait and see with what happens with COVID in the world. But with obviously them pushing that game back, there could be an opportunity that we may be in attendance.
Fantastic. Right, we're going to switch it up then, and you're quite welcome to come back in. We're going to keep going, everyone, for about an hour, but we'll switch it up. If you want to come back in later, you can. Ollie, your man the match, and yeah, your final thoughts.
Man the match is a difficult one, because you could give it to, honestly, 6 or 7 of those 11 today. You could give it to all of them and say, yeah, fair enough. I don't think there's any of them that you could say, really, But in terms of one that shone out for me, I would have to say Phil Billing. He's one of them players that looks very sort of, I hate saying this word, but he looks lazy at times, the way he plays football. He sort of flicks the ball and sort of effortlessly sort of rolls it aside and things. And that's just sort of his style. And a player that's sort of similar, you could say, is sort of like someone like Mesut Ozil, you know, where they sort of just flick the ball either side or effortlessly slide it to a forward and look like they're sort of nonchalantly not really trying. And when it doesn't come off and when he's not playing well, I think it looks terrible. But today, he was brilliant. You know, he made a huge impact in the game. And obviously that the assist for or what wouldn't be the assist in the end because it was a penalty, but the assist to lay it to Surridge as Dunn came down and fouled Sam Surridge was just, it was nonchalant. The back of the sort of neck, it was just incredible. So yeah, I'd have to give me man of the match to him.
And if anyone wants to watch it back or have that feeling of watching it back, they can head over to your YouTube channel and catch out.
Yeah, it's all still on the YouTube channel. I think it's about 2.5 hours or so of coverage starting just before the game, and obviously my reaction to the entire game. So if anyone wants to watch it back, then you're welcome to.
Brilliant.
Appreciate
Cheers
that.
for coming on, Ollie. Look after yourself.
You too. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Sammy, then, who was the man of the match? Did you think through listening to it? Who made you feel excited about the game and all the result?
Yeah, it's quite hard to pick when you're watching because you've only got like the commentary to go by, really. So yeah, like Ollie said, billing sounded really good. And from what I was like reading from scrolling through Twitter, that or Pearson, I'd say a lot of people were saying as well. If I've got to pick someone for any reason, a lot of people were comparing Pearson to Harry Arter. Harry Arter was my favourite player, so let's pick Pearson.
Yeah, brilliant. Sammy, it's great to see you again.
Yep, cool.
Thanks for coming on, and I'll speak to you
later.
soon.
Yep, cool. See ya.
Morgan, I'll let you go as well, but you're more than willing to pop back in later if we've got time. You've been critical of David Brooks recently, and I thought he had a good game today.
Yeah, I said on the player rating with Tom Jordan on Back of the Net the other day on Saturday after the Birmingham win that David Brooks hasn't been performing and he doesn't really deserve to be starting. I think he's done himself by far that's not the best David Brooks. Can I just reiterate that we have seen scoring and everything? But I think he didn't do too bad. Although he did come off quite early on in the second half, and for one of our best players not to complete a 90, I know he's had injury problems, but yeah, I thought he was much better. But did you want a man of the match before I pop off?
Go for it.
We had a Ben Pearson so far. Ollie said Phil Billen. I'm going to go with Sam Surridge. Now, the reason I'm going to go for Sam Surridge is every time he comes onto the football pitch in an AFC Bournemouth kit, he delivers. He won the penalty a few games ago. I can't remember. They're coming too quickly for my liking now. But he won the penalty when he came on 45 minutes in the other day. And today he's won himself the side a penalty to get Burnley no way back. And he's also started the scoring off by opening his mark. Yeah, okay, it wasn't the best goal in the world, but he was there to get on the end of it. And Bournemouth haven't had goals for quite a while this season. And he's definitely should be starting ahead of the next game against Forest on Saturday at 12:30 on Sky Sports News.
Wonderful. Cheers for that, Morgan.
Thank you so much.
No worries, and we'll catch you later as well. I just actually find where you are. There you are. Right, okay, let's bring some new faces in, and let's bring some younger cherries in on this segment. And we've got Daniel. How are you doing, Daniel?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. We'll also bring George in as well, and we've got PW Ghost as well. So, smiley faces today. Yeah. And Daniel, was you meant to be at school, or was you watching whilst doing your homework?
So this happens to me like a lot of times. So like the games are during school, so I just asked my mom, and I have my computer on while I'm listening to the class, and the game will be in the back, and I'll just be listening to it and watching it.
And George, before the game, was you confident that we could get a result and get to the quarterfinals before?
Yeah, I mean it's Burnley. But they're not the best. I reckon we're a better team than them.
We do struggle at Burnley, though, George. We don't win many football matches there. We won back in 2018, but you were confident that the squad that Jonathan Woodgate put out that we could get a result.
I think we've evolved since we played them last. We're a better team now.
Brilliant. And you, what's about the goals? What did you think about the goals when Surridge scored?
I didn't see them because I don't have BT, but they sounded good goals.
Yeah, they were excited on the radio then.
Yeah.
Jamie, how are you?
Great.
And was you able to watch the game as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent.
Only
And when
private.
when Jack Stacey overlapped David Brooks and he squared it for Sam Surridge and he put it in the back of the net, what did you think? Do you think we've got a chance here?
Yeah. I didn't think he was actually going to square it. I thought he was going to get it in the box, but it actually surprised me that he squared it, but I'm glad he did.
Looking at the defence as well, Daniel, Begovic was back to his best again. Steve Cook, always a monstrous captain. Carter Vickers was good as well. Was you happy with how we defended tonight?
Yes, and I always forget like how do I explain it? Like our supposed to be manager, but he's not our manager yet. His specialty is defending, and I feel like that would be good because I feel like ever since Nathan Ake, Charlie Daniels left, we've kind of been struggling a little bit. So I said in the back of the net watch along that our defense looks better than it usually does, because usually like Kelly or Mepham like messes it up, but this time I was really impressed with our defense.
Brilliant. And George, when you saw the team line up and you didn't see someone like Jack Wilshere and Lewis Cook in there, was you a little bit concerned?
I assumed it was just because of physicality. Like, because Wilshire's injury prone. Lewis Cook's known for injuries as well. And they're not strong enough. But Ben Pearson, Championship like CDM, he can bully off them Burnley midfielders.
And to my understanding, George, Ben Pearson only cost us 250,000. That was a good signing.
Great signing. Like, we can sell him on for like 15, 10 million at the end of it. Like, if he does well for us, we'll get loads of profit on him.
Definitely. And alongside Ben Pearson, Jamie, was Jeff Lerma, a player that struggled for form in January and at the end of Jason Tyndall's reign. A player that definitely looked a lot better on Saturday and looked more himself this evening. Would you agree?
Yeah, great performance. Not just by Lerma, by the whole team.
I mean, there's only probably been 4 or 5 games all season where we've played for 90 minutes from start to finish. But tonight was one of those games where they just run for each other, didn't they? Everyone just put in a shift. They did that extra little bit of running. Was that the proudest part of the match for you, that they didn't stop for 93 minutes?
Yeah, just keep putting pressure on them. That's what I liked about that game. They just kept putting pressure on Burnley, and they made sure Burnley couldn't make a way through.
Fantastic. Right, Daniel. Chris Hubble says that his man of the match was Steve Cook. Who's your man of the match?
Carter Vickers. I feel like we never gave him a chance in the league, and he showed himself really nice. You can see he was trying to make he does really good passes. He did a couple of good passes, and feel like he deserves to go on our next game.
Fantastic. George, who's your man of the match tonight?
I would say Ben Pearson. Great debut.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic tonight. And Jamie, who would be your man of the match?
Begovic. Because he made some fantastic saves that game.
Back to doing.
Didn't keep held off, but we still managed to keep that clean sheet against the top Burnley side.
Back to getting clean sheets, Begovic. Daniel, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right, and we'll see you soon. George, thank you for coming on as well. Really appreciate that. Enjoy the weekend. All right. See you soon.
Thank you.
Jamie as well. Thank you for coming on again, and we'll speak to you at the weekend, and hopefully we'll get up the cherries. See you soon. Brilliant. Some really positive stuff tonight. We're all happy after the weekend. So let's bring in some more guests. Let's bring in Steve, Billings' #1 fan. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll mix this up. We'll go. John Sparks going to come in as well.
That's tickled me, Steve. That's really tickled me.
Aaron's in.
I've always loved him.
Jamie,
I'm sure you have.
Right.
Oh my God, I've got Steve.
Let's all be organised now. We've gone 6 ways. Right, Steve. That cog, that link between midfield and the front three. What a player. Phil Billing.
Wow. Mate, I've got to take my hat off to him. He had an absolute barnstormer tonight, didn't he? Credit where credit's due. He hasn't turned up enough, in my opinion, for us regularly. But tonight, what it was. I think I put a quote to you on it, John. It was Philip Dino, Billing Dino. It was today.
Dino.
Back passes off his, laying on Surridge. It was never seen anything like it. But as far as the game goes, mate, I think what I was really impressed with us tonight was off the ball. When we didn't have the ball, we were just, as a team, as a unit, it started with Sam. Sam went, Billing then followed, and we just, that's what I've been looking for in a press. And I just think they just never dealt with it very well. It was like we were doing what they were doing to, we were doing to them what teams have been doing to us over the weeks. So yeah, and Pearson as well. Billing was great, but I think Pearson understated. He was very neat and tidy, lovely little player. Broke up the play well, spotted the danger on the break. He would do what he had to do to break up the play, basically. And I think we've been crying out for someone who does it as effectively as that.
Going back to that point then, John, where has this press been all season that we've definitely been calling out for? I go back to games at Derby where we let the centre-backs just stroll over the halfway line and we just let them carry the ball. But we pressed Burnley tonight. We put them into a few areas to the point where they conceded their own corner with us pressing them down. That definitely helped us. It's a madness, really, that Jason Tindall never really attempted to press.
Yeah, it is odd, especially as when you go back to us under Eddie, we were quite a high pressing team certainly for large parts of all our seasons in the Prem and obviously Championship and going even further back. I think the press worked so well because Sam Surridge not only was Surridge willing to do the work, because I think Solanke presses quite well from the front, but he doesn't have the support. So in this game, Billing actually did the job that you needed him. We turned into a 4-4-2 when we pressed, Billing and Surridge pressing the goalkeeper and defenders. But then after that, you need every other player to do their job. You need Brooks to be on the left back. You have to have Stanislas on their right back. You have to have Stacey on his man. Every single player has to have their man. And we did that today. Not only was Pearson and Lerma dominant in central midfield, really dominant, but also you had Cook and Carter Vickers being dominant at the back, because you kind of expect a team like Burnley, if they have to play it long, they'll play it long. It will be a striker that will nod it down, and one of either the other striker or the centre mids will latch onto it. But because we were winning the first balls, we were winning the second balls, they never got a chance to get going. And it was only during that sort of period in the beginning of the second half that they really even sort of were pressing us and were forcing us to really have to defend for our lives, which was where I thought we'd crumble. I really did, based on the few mistakes that Begovic has made earlier on in the last few games, the goal we conceded, second goal we conceded on the weekend, a few other times, we haven't been dealing enough with stopping crosses for one, and then actually dealing with the ball when it gets in the box. And because we did that all, and everyone did their job, and everyone performed brilliantly, apart from, you could argue, maybe Rico, maybe Brooks, the normal suspects. But they even if they had sort of an average game, it all worked well because everyone else performed with an 8 or a 9, and it was just wonderful to see an actual 90-minute performance from us.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. How's everybody?
Yeah, good. So Sam Surridge plays well at Barnsley. He plays well at, I think it's, was it Coventry, or he played in the front two with Solanke. He had a good game. We went to Barnsley. We beat them 4-0. Sam Surridge plays well, doesn't get a look in. He comes on at Wickham and changes the game and influences a goal that Junior Stanislas scores, then doesn't get a look in. He comes on today, he starts today, and he has a difference. He's running the channels. He's harrowing the centre-backs down. Why does he make a difference or make an impact but seem to not get rewarded with future, appearances? I know it's going to be under a different manager now, but he's surely got to be in there for a starting place on Saturday.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he is a proper centre forward. I mean, that's the thing. He's good in the air. I can't remember if it was the first half or second half when someone played up a long ball and he controlled it on the head, brought it down, and we haven't got any other player who can do that. As you said, he runs the channels. He's a box player as well. He wins penalties. He gets tap-ins. He gets, he's just an all-round centre forward. And I've been saying for some time, I think we should be playing 2 up front. However, I think tonight we hit on the formation that I've also been saying with my boys that we should be playing a lot, and that's the 4-2-3-1. And I think that really does suit us well, because what that does is, first of all, gives 4 at the back, and I've been against the 3 at the back for most of the season. 4 at the back when everyone's knows their jobs. 2 sitting in front, and now with Pearson, he seems the complete player for that. I mean, he's like watching young Harry Arter in his prime. So Pearson and Lerma are the ideal players, get through that wall basically. And then what that allows you to do is, whether it's Danjuma, Brooks, Stanislas, tonight Billing, Wilshere, whoever it is, 3 players have the license to drift and create, knowing that they got that protection of Lerma and Pearson behind them. It's a bit harsh on Lewis Cook, who has been outstanding all season. And it is a dilemma for Jonathan Woodgate or whoever takes over. Lewis Cook's been outstanding, but if you had to pick 2 players as those 2 rocks breaking up play, it would be Lerma and Pearson based on that performance tonight. And I'm a big fan of Lewis Cook.
So that 4-2-3-1 then, Jamie. Simon Kay likes that one as well. He's always gone on about that. And the 4-2-3-1. Now you've got Pearson, Lerma, Lewis Cook. There's going to be and Billings now in there as well, putting himself in for a spot. And you've got to throw Jack Wilshere in there as well, Jamie. These are not players that are going to want to be squad players and just playing a little bit. How is he going to get them all in on Saturday and future games? Because Pearson's really put himself in the hat now.
He simply isn't going to get them all in. You can't. I think you're looking at Jack or Phil, both sort of flair players, off the cuff, sort of want that freedom. They're going to be competing for that 10 role, which is linked with the striker. I think Ben Pearson had a fantastic debut today. He's everything you want in a defensive midfielder. His recoveries, when he was caught ahead of the ball, was fantastic, and I think that's going to help us a lot with the way we play in the Championship, where a lot of our defending is without players behind the ball, is transition defending. There is a difference in between the two, and his recovery runs was the most impressive for him, and pass the ball as well. He's not just a break up the play type player. He can pass the ball, and from what you read and what you hear about from different podcasts and things about the Championship, he's been one of the best defensive midfielders in the league for the last sort of 3 to 4 years. So, and Preston fans are very sad to lose him, really. Lewis has played really well for us in general this season. I just think that's going to be a battle that's we're not necessarily going to see the answer to until sort of maybe like 5, 6 more games. Who would get, or it's also going to be which manager comes in if we get a new manager who he prefers. But Lerma, you've seen a different bite about Lerma the last 2 games, like compared to what he was playing like, and we sort of stumbled upon a formation and things like that, but it's also about the effort of the players, the team connectivity between the distances between players. There's a lot more effort. Sam Surridge pressing and stuff like that. But also at the back today, seeing Cameron Carter-Vickers, he was an absolute monster. He was a beast in the first half. Everything up there, he was dominating it. That's what you want from a centre-back. And I've been critical of Mepham, but even him today, he come on and he did the simple things. He wasn't taking any nonsense. He was putting the ball out when he needed to. He wasn't taking chances. And I just think that we've cut out sort of, in general, the silly errors, and then we're staying in games, and then as we get a goal, and is confidence building. And I think that's a lot of the difference between what's happened with Woodgate and what was happening with Tyndall. The basic errors have sort of been reduced. There was still a couple. At the end of the day, we can't deny if Jade Rodriguez scores that chance. And the position of Mepham on there and Cook, everyone getting dropped over, it's a different game if that goes in. But in general, the errors have been cut out. We're doing the basic things better, and we look more like a team rather than 11 individuals.
I was going to question you about Mepham, but you sort of covered it there. So there we go. Keith, how are you?
Not too bad, mate.
So talking about the basics, we've been critical of lack of overlaps from our fullbacks this season, and I thought from early on, Jack Stacey was trying to get beyond David Brooks. There was an early chance where Brooks laid him in, and he didn't quite get the cross right the first time, but he went again, and the second time he found Surridge. We also had overlaps coming on from Rico. The quality wasn't always there from Rico, and he's been critical of that, his delivery, but it's more promising, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And it starts, what I've been saying over the last few podcasts, it starts from your press. Simple as that, isn't it? If you're pressing from up the front, you're concertining them at the back, you're allowing us to play with space, then you gain confidence and everything like that. So we got that right today, and it allows us to get those overlaps on the wides and overloads, and that's what we were seeing today. I'm not negative, but I would say, is this just a bounce? With Gates in at the moment, or is this something to be looking forward going forward? So a lot of people saying Woodgate in. I'm going to hold judgment until at least another 4 or 5 games before I decide. And it's the same with the formation. We changed it up to the 4-2-3-1. But is that going to work every game? We've got the Forest game on Saturday, so. Yeah, it's brilliant today, and it lifts our spirits up, and it's given us something to look forward to. But have we found the solution yet? We'll wait and see, and that's going to be the debate going forward, I think, fella. So, but didn't we need it today? Because we were, it was a scrappy game on Saturday, and with this today, it does give us confidence, but. There's a long way to go and there's a lot of work to do. And what do we do about Brooks? Because he didn't convince me again today. So let's wait and see what the other lads think.
And I was gonna post that. I was actually gonna sort of ask everyone at the end, and we'll come to it, about Jonathan Woodgate. But I'll throw this around actually and sort of interject where you want and have a conversation. But
yeah.
Did inner Jonathan Woodgate sort of come out at 61 minutes, I think it was, or something like that? He took David Brooks off, I think it was, for Lewis Cook. And remember, if we go back to Saturday, he took a wide player off and put a more of a defensive player on, and then he took Danjuma off and put Rico on. Now, I know he's winning the game, but is that a little part of Woodgate that he just can't get away from because of the type of player he was in his career? I mean, I'll throw it out to Steve initially, but obviously, if anyone else wants to comment.
I think you could say that about him just purely because of where he played as a player. But he's bought what was it, Rico on and Smith, wasn't it, the last game?
Yeah, so and he took Wilshere, if you remember. He took Wilshere off at a key point at 2-1. If you remember, under Eddie, there was a lot of games we tried to hold on to 1-0s or 2-1s, and we were never the greatest team in doing that. And it sort of brought me back to those times when he was making those substitutions. So I'm just putting it out there. I don't think those are completely defensive-minded changes. They've got an element of defence to them, but equally, Smith and Rico are potent going forward as well, as is Lewis Kirk today. So I don't think they're completely defensive-minded changes. I think they're still with a emphasis, slight emphasis on counter-attacking as well. Don't know what anyone else thinks.
Go on, fella.
I was just noting on the changes made on the last game today. I think making sure that we had 2 fullbacks on both sides against. Birmingham in the last game. Admittedly, it didn't work out because unfortunately Rico didn't do his job, but we weren't blocking crosses against Birmingham, and I feel as though he was making that change to try and prevent that from happening quite as much. And then we went and conceded from a deep cross because Rico wasn't on his man. So I think it was a sensible tactical change, and in the end we were able to get the goal because he brought Billing on, and he got us the third one. And today again, I think it's a defensive-minded change, bringing Lewis Cook on at right mid, but I think it was there because he just was worried that because I was a little bit worried that David Brooks wasn't tracking his man. There was once or twice he was caught ball watching, and I thought Lewis Cook admittedly hasn't played on the right often, but I would trust him more to do the job defensively. And then going forward, we know what Lewis Cook can do. And in a couple of situations, he made simple passes when we were going forward that David Brooks wasn't doing. So if given how Brooks was doing, it was actually probably a positive change in all aspects to put Lewis Cook on for David Brooks when he did. But I would say that changes at around the hour mark, I think, aren't really what I'm necessarily going to judge Woodgate on. I would say the way he set the teams up and the way that he's got us playing in early stages is more of an indication of like the positivity that he's bringing into the squads and bringing into the dynamic of how we're playing. Having said that, I personally don't want him to take the job full time. I think we need him in the coaching setup. I think it's clear that he's had a positive effect on the team, but I think we need a more experienced person. I think it's more likely this is a bounce at the moment. It's a good bounce, but at the moment, it's just bringing us back to sort of what we know we're capable of. We need someone with, real experience to take this squad on and really improve them. Because at the moment, I reckon Woodgate's taken us back to about neutral, about what you'd expect this team to do. Admittedly, he's got probably the best 90 minutes out of us all season in that last game, but it's a cup game. It's a slightly different situation. I don't know. What do the rest of the guys think?
I mean, Jamie. Sorry. Go on. Keith.
Which one? I agree. I have real concerns about Brooksy as a defensive player. He doesn't track back enough for me, and it does leave us exposed on that side. Is it a bounce? That's well, the Forest game is going to be one that is going to really say to us. I think the Forest game and the game after that are the two that are going to say, no, it's a bounce or what have you. He has got us organised, which is the minimum requirement of what we needed. And he has, obviously, there's competition now in the squad on places, but it's difficult, and it's difficult to know what are they going to go for. Maybe an experienced coach like Woodgate. He has done coaching, and I think he rubs along quite well with the Spanish lads because he can speak Spanish. And go for an inexperienced coach. So he comparatively, I would want him in, but John Terry has been touted. Or we going with an experienced guy? I don't know, and I don't know what the board's thinking because, yeah. Woodgate's done a solid job so far, but he's only rescuing us from a downward spiral that was rapidly getting out of control. So yeah, that's where I see it at the moment.
I think it all depends on how quick the board want to make a decision, because if they're going to give it another 3 or 4 games or 5 games even, and then he does well in those 7 games, and we've only got 12 or 11, 12 games left in the season, then it's going to be hard not to give him the job. I mean, when he was first came in, my first thought was, oh, please don't give him the job. Then I've heard him speak in post and pre-match press conferences. He speaks well. He's obviously played at the highest level. I've been impressed with pretty much everything he's said. And if we go to Forest and perform like that again and win, it's going to be very difficult not to. At the same time, as John said, you don't want to be lulled into a full sense of security, give him the job, and then things don't work out and you think, oh, we could have gone for this coach, we could have gone for that coach. So it is a difficult one. I just also wondered tonight, and I said it before, that we seem to play better against better teams. I'm not saying Burnley are a great team by any stretch of the imagination, but we proved it last season when we went to Man City, and even this year in the Carabao Cup, we went to Man City, when Premier League teams seem to give us more space. And I'm concerned that we played brilliantly tonight. No one can take that away from us. But there seems to be we know the Championship is a different ball game, and we're the favourites in every game in the Championship. Players get into our face. We don't have the time on the ball that we had tonight, even against Burnley. And that's why I think that's what's so disappointing about last season, because we showed tonight that, we have got those players, we have got the ability to play, to mix it at the top level. And I do worry that we've been found out so many games in the Championship this season against teams lower than us. Number one, because they don't let us play. Number two, because they're all raising their game. So I think the acid test is going to be Forest and then Rotherham. And then I think we'll have a much better idea.
Jamie, I don't really know, and I don't know if anyone knows, but I'll ask you, Jamie. But does it look like that we're a little bit more organised off the pitch, and that breeds confidence, and players are going on more organised, and then their quality's coming out, and we're just looking like a better football team?
It's very difficult to say because it's too early. Like, I think obviously we're reacting after this Burnley game. We looked looked better tonight, but there were still times like Rico when Dale Stevens hit it over the bar, like he rushed out of position to double up with Lerma in the first half. That could have been a goal. But why Lewis Cook come on was because exactly what people were saying. Brooks wasn't tracking back, and he brought Lewis Cook on for that reason. Like Jay Rodriguez had missed a sitter from 4 or 5 yards. Yeah. We could be having a very different conversation if those two things go against us. We are more organised in terms of like we know what we're going out there to do, and at the end of the day, the players have got to. They're on their own time. Like at the end of the day, they got to impress because he could get the manager's job, and if they don't impress him, they're not going to play for the rest of the year. Or very limited time. So it's very difficult to say, and you need to see this from a sort of like prolonged period of time, at least another 4 or 5 games before you even start thinking about the manager, like him getting the management job. If they are going to give it him, it should just be restructuring of his pay, his actual salary, but same contract, end of the season. That's what he's got at the moment, 6 months. And that's what it should be. Bonus at the end of the season if he gets us up. If he doesn't, thank you for your time. What's our long-term vision? That's how I see it anyway. If they want to get a new manager in now, in the next 1 to 2 weeks, then I feel like he should stay at the club. It should be sort of, maybe not assistant manager, or the new guy might want his own assistant manager, but he should definitely be in and around at least first team coach at the end of the season, then revisit it. But it's very difficult because at the end of the day, against Birmingham on Saturday, we conceded 2 goals. We didn't look particularly great or organised, so it's very difficult to say. Oh, after today, we looked okay at the back, but we still had some errors. So it's very reactionary to say, oh, we're a much more organised team. I feel like there's definitely been improvements, but I think you've got to see that for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Just going to switch it up one more time. We've got some more people waiting. But before I go, I'll go round. And Steve, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Your man of the match, and would you give Woodgate the job now?
Okay, I'll do the easy one first. Ben Pearson for me. I know Billing was. A lot of people will say Billing, but I just thought Pearson was. He just oozed class in that position. Did everything he should do. Brilliant, neat and tidy little player. Really impressed with him. As for the manager's role, I'm all up for giving people a chance, and if he keeps winning, he's gonna put a doubt into the board's mind, isn't he, of whether they need to look elsewhere. Early doors. If he does well, I don't see why you wouldn't give him a chance.
Cheers, coming on, Steve.
No worries. See you later, guys.
See you later. Cheers.
John, see you later, big boy.
You still don't want Woodgate in. I think I'm still with you. I think he's done a brilliant job, and I think he is changing something behind the scene. Man the match?
I am going to go with Billing, as a lot of people will. I think Pearson, quite rightly, is right up there. But I think people are picking up on Pearson a lot and completely forgetting Lerma was just as good as Pearson. As much as Pearson did have 1 or 2 extra moments, I think Lerma should be considered right up there with Pearson as one of the best players we had today. But just for the literal back pass and a few other classy moments and just his general play, I'll go with Billing.
Fantastic. Cheers, coming on, John. See you soon.
Cheers, Kurt. Thanks.
Aaron, thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone again. And who's your man of the match?
Any of the midfield 3 for me: Pearson, Billing, Lerma. I think they were all fantastic. Pearson, because he's for his debut, I think I'll give it to him.
Okay, fantastic. Cheers, coming on, Aaron.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, see you soon. Cheers. Keith, who's your man of the match?
Oh, mate, it's got to be Billy the Goat, isn't it? It's got to be Billy the Goat. Just remember, he's the worst player we've ever had. It's not just this game. He's been actually good several games this season. He's played really well. I thought he was really key for us in the Norwich game on his defensive work. He was closing down the passing lanes and doing all that. So he looks languid. I will say that, but I actually think as a roaming playmaker, stroke number 10, I think he does pretty well. So yeah, definitely Billy the Goat tonight, and long may it continue.
Keith, brilliant to have you on Cherries Red Army.
Lovely, and speak to you soon, Kirky.
See you later, Keith. See you soon.
See you later, big boy.
Jamie, So a rare quarter-final visit for AFC Bournemouth. A rare positive comment about Chris Mepham. Was he your man of the match?
No, he wasn't my man of the match, but I do think he definitely kept it more simple today. He wasn't standoffish today, and he did hold his ground, and he just simplified the game, which is what a centre back needs to do. I feel like it could have gone to most players. I think Cam Carter-Vick has got to have an honourable mention. I think Sam Surridge's work rate's got to have an honourable mention, but just Billings' flair and his work rate today, like he is known for being languid, but he worked hard today. He helped Surridge in the press. He linked the attack with the midfield and the other lines behind him. So I think he was good, but it helped that they were playing 4-4-2 as well, because we had the extra man. And how many times do we see that in the Premier League? Extra man in midfield, and we get a run around, and that's what we were doing to them at times today.
Brilliant. Jamie, it's good to see you. And you're going to potentially be on a future preview show as well in a few weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully get it on the back of this one, get some wins into the preview Rotherham looking to do. So Nottingham Forest first, 3 points in there, into a Rotherham on midweek.
Good stuff. See you soon.
Sue Kirk.
Cheers. Some happy cherries tonight, and we're going to just roll it up one more time. And I'm going to bring in a good friend of mine, and Sam Davis. How are you?
Very well, mate. Very well. This feels like on I'm a Celebrity when Alan and Deck hop over to ITV2 and chat to Joel Dommett. You are the Joel Dommett, and tell you what, I've been listening to a few views tonight, and it's been a really good listen.
So, firstly, I don't know what I've missed in the chat, but something's gone down that I couldn't keep up with while I was talking to the guys. So a bit of to and fro, but there's a lot of respect between obviously myself, Cherries Red Army, you, and the back of the net. So I don't know what's gone down in the chat, but it's all love, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And even more after tonight. I mean, that was, although I'm a bit uncomfortable with Keith calling everyone big boy tonight. I just came on 5 minutes ago and he's saying, all right, big boy, see you later. Like, what's that all about? But I tell you what, it is all love. And it certainly is tonight after what was not the complete performance, but a very good performance against a side that I thought would be better than what they were.
Fantastic. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We're getting there to 200. Keep it going. How was your watch along? How did it go?
Yeah, it went well, apart from the fact that Tom was 10 seconds behind me. So on his stream, so I was reacting to things that Tom didn't have a clue about. And you know what it's like doing live shows when you're concentrating on one thing and then chats are coming in on the right-hand panel. And it's, so what I can take out the game, I'm not too sure. I'll probably have to watch it back because I'm taking in so many things at once. But from what I could see, it was such a good performance, I thought. Philip Billing in the centre midfield, a lot of people have said already, Keith's calling him the GOAT. I thought he was exceptional. Pearson, really good debut. Now that, Shane Long, is how to have a debut, I've got to say. Really assured. In the first half, David Brooks was getting forward and looked fairly effective. I think the formation helped him have that space. Jack Stacey was overlapping. It was all very positive. And I'm looking at the game now on chances and thinking, well, 2-0 probably flatters Burnley because Billing had that chance. Stanislas had that half volley. We had other chances where we were in and around their box. And I think it was a fair reflection and, it could have been worse for him.
I'll ask you another question in a moment, Sam, but I'll bring in another guest, your opposition preview host, Craig. Like his comment. You've been saying a lot, Sam, that it doesn't really, it's formations. We can talk 3 at the back, 4 at the back. And you've been saying for quite a while now, it just needs to do the basics and we just need to work a little bit harder. That's probably up there with our best sort of work rate performance all season, I would say.
That's right. First and foremost, right, when you get the work rate right, if you've got 2 teams that have got the same amount of work rate, then it will come down to formations. But when you've got one that's worse than the other, with one team like really trying, like Derby did when we played at their place, and we were absolutely dog, then it doesn't matter. Formations won't really do anything. You just got to have that passion, determination, and the desire. You go into complete your passes. Just get a few passes in a row to get a bit of confidence and swagger on the ball, like we should have with the quality of players that we have. But we didn't. For a long period of times, we were, giving the ball away too frequently, and it was So it wouldn't matter whether we did 3 at the back, 4 at the back, whatever. How many midfielders you want, like you could play a 1-9 or a 9-1. It wouldn't matter because we weren't doing the basics right. We're doing that now. Not saying it's just down to Woodgate. Not really sure, but whatever has happened, the mentality has changed. At the end of the day, we have played a side that were poor tonight. We beat a side just about. We just got over the line at the weekend, which, to be fair, I think we all expected. We didn't expect all of a sudden like a huge change. The proof in the pudding of Jonathan Woodgate will be over the next few games. But the thing is, he may not even have that long anyway. So for the board, I don't envy them. It's a really tough place to be at the moment.
And Simon would like a wave if that's possible.
Sorry, I wasn't reading the comments. Yes.
Okay, Craig. So Shane Long didn't start up top because he was cut tight tonight.
Do you know what? I didn't realise.
But Sam Surridge did, and you've been calling for Sam Surridge to get more games this season. He did start tonight, and he put a performance in to be proud of.
Yeah, I thought he was good. Really, really good. I've been calling for him to have a chance for a long, long time. He showed what he could do for Swansea. And I think, he's really stepped up to the mark. I'd be disappointed if he didn't start against Forest at the weekend. I really would. What a difference a week makes as well, Sam. Can you remember the rant last week?
Well, I mean, the fact that you're calling it a rant as well, I'm surprised you're still calling it that way.
I'm so pissed off.
But yeah, I mean, you were, and so many times we have been like that because we are frustrated because we know how good the players are. We know that they're capable of so much more, and we're playing teams that I feel like as though we're condescending when we say teams like Luton, teams like Rotherham, teams like this, but it's true. The value of their squad's probably a tenth of what ours is, if not, less. And when you've got players that have done it and been there and done it in the Premier League that aren't doing it in the Championship against teams that are 23rd, it's so frustrating. So I can understand why you were going off on one because it was completely validated.
It wasn't so much defeat, like I know I mentioned to you. If we got beat by an unlucky goal, we'd been all over them, had plenty of chances. I would have said it's one of those games. Those happen. But it was just a manner of defeat last week. We didn't have a shot on target in the first half. Westwood didn't even make a save. And, at half time, I was just gutted. Managed to get it back to 1-1. And then, that goal at the end, I would... it's horrible to say it, being a Bournemouth fan, but, we got what we deserved last week. And I was hurting last week. Badly hurting after that game because they weren't good. They'll still go down. I'm adamant about that. They're not a good side. Well, look at what Millwall did.
You know what?
Millwall thrashed them 4-1.
We're in danger of this, like rolling back 7 days and having a complete performance of what we did last week.
Yeah, let's forget that last week now. But yeah, tonight, I honestly think Woodgate, has put himself in the picture. He does mention, when he's in the press conferences, look, I'm only focused on getting the 3 points or getting through to the next round of the Cup. But Woodgate is going to be thinking, at the back of his mind, he's going to think, I want this job. I really want this job.
And that's why he played the team he played tonight. That's why he played those guys, because he wants that job, even though he says all these things about, the remit is the next game, all this kind of stuff. You know that back there, it's in the back of his mind. So he was going to do that.
Yeah.
And, I do feel for Jayden Anthony, Zamora, because, this season they're not going to get a look in at all because of the situation we're in. But Jonathan Woodgate wants that job.
And looking on to the weekend, Sam, you predicted the lineup and you weren't far off it, to be fair. I think probably, we look back and thought you actually said that Roro probably would be a bit too lightweight. So you're probably looking back on that and probably thinking, actually, I probably should have gone with Brooks. And I was the same, but I did agree with you. But as we look to that game and you look at what Phil Billing did for that second, to create the penalty for us. I mean, could Jack Wilshere do that? Could he get an assist from his back?
Well, when you look at it now, you're thinking, right, those three today, brilliant. you got to now please Wilshere and Lewis Cook. It's like, but that's good. That's a good thing. And if that can improve performances, because that's what we have always wanted from, like, we've talked about it so many times, the left back scenario. Rico, nah, he's crap. Let's put in Kelly. Nah, he's crap. Let's put in Rico, rotate. It's like a carousel. Whereas now in midfield, I hope that kind of those, mini, sort of fights that are happening for positions can happen, like in other areas of the pitch as well. Because, Sam Surridge did a fantastic job tonight. And Shane Long is probably going to be wondering, I'm not sure if I'm going to start on Saturday.
It's a good problem to have, to be fair. To have that many good midfielders. So we got Lerma, Cook, Billing. Billing. Let's rewind it back a little bit further, Sam. And I was whinging about Billing week after week after week. I even said that I would give him a lift to wherever he wanted to go. I even said, I'll take him down the M27 to that lot. And for free.
I've only just clocked your name change, by the way.
We'll wrap this up about... Yeah, sorry, Craig. Go on.
One person I don't think we can drop after tonight is a man who has had, the most fantastic debut. I can't think of somebody who's had a better debut for a long time.
No.
It's Pearson. Pearson was great. He's fantastic. He showed... I think he was better than when he actually come down here with Preston. What do you reckon?
He had a good game. He was absolutely fantastic. What we're going to do, going to wrap this up in about 3 or 4 minutes. But before I do that, for those of you that are in the chat, let me just know what your thoughts are on this, okay? If you could right now, you had to make a decision, would Woodgate be in right now, or would you still want to go with someone else, right? So in the chat, drop it down. Would you give Woodgate the job now after 2 performances, a result away at Burnley, which we don't do very often, a quarter-final performance in the FA Cup? Drop it in the chat now. Probably one of the negatives of this evening, or something that could be a concern, is Jack Stacey going off at half-time. I know that Smith played better at the weekend. Is that a concern at all, Craig?
Yeah, I would say Stacey's very, very good. I've always rated Stacey. When he was at Luton, I saw him a couple of times, and yeah, he's a very, very good player. I think he'll be a massive loss. Smith can do the job. We know he can do the job. So it's one of those that Stacey brings a lot more, and will only get better. And he's. I think he. Here's a question. I'm throwing it back now. I'm being like a politician. But would you say Stacey's a little bit more creative than Smith? I would say so.
Yeah, it's yeah. And as we look at those comments, I don't know if you've seen them, Sam. So the question I just asked about Woodgate in, pretty much everyone is sitting on the fence. Have the club created themselves a problem now?
They have and they haven't. I mean, it was their only thing that they could really do. I think that the win against Birmingham was unconvincing. The Burnley side that we played today were crap. I thought they were crap. They didn't pose much of a threat. Of course, we're all jubilant of being in the quarterfinal, but that's we're probably forgetting how poor Burnley were, because they weren't their usual best, and they were playing out a substandard side. So I think it's nothing that you can really gauge it on. The next fixture is going to be Woodgate's hardest match, because Forest they're having a bit of a turn. And their recent results have been fairly good. They seem to have found their rhythm a little bit, and that is going to possibly be a gauge that the board are maybe looking to. I mean, from what I hear, there's loads of candidates that have put their hats into the ring. So they might be on this for the best part of a week. I'm sure they'll want to be making their decision ahead of the game the following Saturday. But, certainly no decisions before then, I would think. And Saturday might be in one of those fixtures that might swing them one way or the other with regards to Woodgate.
Do you know what? I was just about to say exactly the same, Sam. I think beat Forest, Woodgate will stand a very, very strong chance. if we get beat by Forest, then I think that is probably the game that will make him, because I don't know if Burnley were terrible tonight. I think we were exceptional. I think we were really, really good. It was a case of where, maybe they made us look a little bit better than we actually were, but I think that we did. We were exceptional. If we played like that against Luton, if we played like that against Reading, if we played like that against Derby, we would have got something from each of those games, which is the annoying thing about it. I think Woodgate would have, if he beats Forest, he'll put himself right in the picture. I'm quite an advocate, and I've always liked the man, Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp's always, yes, he does spend a lot of money. He's a little bit eccentric in his ways. He's a little bit eccentric in his ways, but at the same time, I think he is bringing some. He probably is giving Woodgate some good advice as well, and he knows the game inside out. So, would you guys be against him being involved if Woodgate was to come on permanently?
He's done. He's done. Great man, but he's done. Craig, who's your man of the match? Let's bring it back. Who's your man of the match?
It's between the two of them. It's either Billing, and I never thought I'd say that. Back after lockdown, or Pearson. Pearson, I thought was brilliant. I think I'm going to go with Pearson.
Fantastic.
Craig, I rate him. He does the easy things well, and I think actually he does a lot of hard things as well. Very, very well. So I can't see him not starting against Forest.
Pearson, your man of the match. Craig, great to see you.
And you as well, mate. All the best.
Speak to you at the weekend.
See you soon.
Right, Sam, I did put a poll out. For some reason, I put the man match poll out for 24 hours. I have no idea why, but what we'll just do is see where that poll's at. And while I'm bringing it on the screen, what's your thoughts on your man the match this evening? There's quite a few candidates.
I won't waste your time, Kurt. Phil Bill. There we go.
and there it is, mate.
I just thought that he had an exceptional game. Pearson did very well, but I can't look past Phil Billing, and I've criticised him a load of times. So I feel it's probably an apology of sorts, I suppose.
And I know it says 22 hours left, but as we're going to roll into the end of the show at 52%, Billing is there. So another watch along must be on the cards then.
Yeah, mate, they're tiring. They're really tiring. But yeah, we're going to do one. And look, if it's going to contribute to us getting a spot at Wembley, a match that we can't all go to, then great. I think the draw's on Thursday night, isn't it?
I think so, or something. I saw someone in the chat put March, but I can't think it's that late. But unless that's when the game is, the quarterfinal is, might be March the 4th or something like that. So brilliant. Sam, great to see you.
You too, mate.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers, buddy.
Fantastic. We got the win at the weekend, not the best performance. We got a win tonight, better performance, a monstrous performance throughout for 90 minutes. Thank you to everyone who's contributed towards the show and within the chat. It's going to be a good week. We roll on to the weekend where we'll play Forest, and I think it's an early kickoff as well. And if we can have a nice weekend as well, Woodgate is definitely putting himself up for the job. I'm sure of that. Thanks for following. Make sure you subscribe and like. Keep supporting the channel. Appreciate all your support. And we'll see you in the next video. We won against Burnley in Burnley. Quarterfinals. Here we come. Up the Cherries.